All right, hey everyone. Hope you had a great Monday. I almost said Wednesday. It's Monday. Hope you had a great day. This is drop 3 of Helldivers Quest. Quick admin note. I decided to switch this around going forward next week. So this drop is happening as normal, but the vote will be called on next Monday instead of this Friday. And that way next Friday will be drop 4. That way I can write this during the week instead of over the weekend. But with that, let us dive right into this. Last week, what happened last week? We were aboard the SES, Writ of Compliance. We met our first squaddie, Sierra 2. We selected LZ3, the Southern Morass. Which, the southern lowlands of the area are a fog-blanketed quagmire. The SEAF training facility used it to harden recruits, but the Automaton invaders have ignored it. The Automaton encirclement can be infiltrated easily from here. And we ended last session with entering the Hell Pod. So, let us start with Part 1. Aesir Pass, SES Writ of Compliance, June 10th, 2184, Operation Saving Minutemen. A thunk reverberates through the drop pod shell. Then, the padded restraining arms of the G-Force buffer pressing against you from all around. Finally, into your bones. It is followed by a low vibration that rattles your entire person. Sound from outside of the Hell Pod becomes muffled and distant. The pod's collar has been removed and the atmosphere of the launch tube evacuated. If you could see through your feet in the pod's door, you would see the black of space and distant stars blurring past. Gravity shifts, your head slams back, your knees threaten to buckle, but the restraints force you upright. Pinpricks and tingling start up from your toes and fingers, your lower extremities falling asleep. The Super Destroyer's mission controller says, 10 seconds to launch window. Gravity shifts again, your head slams forward. The chin of your helmet is caught by the buffers, but not before your armored forehead cracks the screen with LZ3 selected, the Southern Morass. The lights flicker, but then you realize it was you blacking out. Feeling rushes into your legs and arms as fresh blood flows freely through you again. 2. MC's countdown began without you noticing. Flat-footed, you tense up. 1. Your pod's ejection charge explodes above you, propelling the Hell Pod through the launch tube like a bullet. The ship's automated announcement of Hell Pod launch successful, despite coming in through your helmet, is inaudible except for a few hard sounds of words peaking above the roaring and rumbling enveloping you. Throbbing pain pulses into your body through your shoulders. Accelerating in zero gravity above Aesir Pass, it feels like you are standing by your shoulders on the restraining pads clamped to the top of your pauldrons. Hellpod launches are an exercise in controlled explosions, similar to firing jet-assisted munitions, but this is worse than "Woo!" Sierra wails with joy. "Here we come, clinkers! Downrange!" She continues her bloodthirsty joy, overstimulated by the unprecedented flyby launch from high orbit. After several minutes, however, she falters. The dive has not ended. There's not even the sonic thrashing of atmospheric penetration that usually comes right after launch. No crackling thunder of atmospheric friction flaring off the Hellpod's nose. Charlie? Sierra. Did we miss the planet? No. Yeah, no. No way, just a long drop, the answer, the kneel to the anxiety bubbling up from your stomach. Control? Hellpod's on target, he answers, spitting the words out to get them as fast as possible. Super Destroyer exiting comms range. Democracy Officer Cutler speaks over the MC. May liberty and justice guide you, Helldivers. A long silence follows. At some point, the rumbling quieted, sneaking away into the void of space. There is now only the minute creaking and clanging of the buffer arms restraining you, and the split-second pulses of motors correcting your course. Harley? Sierra asks again. You are finishing some dirty napkin math in your head as you respond. It's going to be a long dive. Try to get comfortable. That will be impossible and you know it. Helldiver training has the adrenaline pumping through your veins. Your body cannot help but grind against the restraining arms, primal instincts furious that you're not in the AO and able to fight yet. Part 2. Aesir Pass. Retro thrusters flare to life and roar overhead with a piercing, wailing shriek. They wake you up with a startle. You had managed to, eventually, fall asleep with Sierra snoring, snorting, and mumbling. She was so loud that she must have masked the boom of the Hellpod smashing into and through the atmosphere. She startles awake too with a yelp, just as the cracked screen in front of your face flickers to the nose-mounted camera mounted beneath the pod. Like the AO map, while approaching the planet, it looks like the camera is broken and showing only static, but that is simply the thick fog layer billowing over the lowland bogs. You grip the maneuvering thruster controls, but only have a single second to jam them forward in a desperate attempt to angle off of the waters below. Instead of the usual thud and grinding, there is a thunderous wet plap. Vertigo is instantaneous as you are blind out your hellpod landed and your inner ears struggle to orient you. Your stomach churns as a throaty gurgle billows out from above. The pod stops shaking as the motors die out. Then, the buffer system's arms fold up into the pod's hull. A whooshing hiss occurs until that, too, gurgles and dies. A putrid stink infiltrates the pod as your atmosphere normalizes with that of Aesir Pass. Then, the locking iris unfolds above you. Frigid, sticky muck floods the pod while the floor plate tries to push you out against the torrent. The automated lift quickly jams and fails, leaving you to flail and kick. Panic sets in until your feet find purchase on something inside of the pod, and you manage to kick yourself up. It does not matter that you cannot swim, because, in this viscous semi-fluid, you're digging up more than anything else. Your left arm is the first part to thrash out of the bog's placid surface. The mud has already smoothed over the hole your hellpod burrowed, leaving no evidence except for your struggling frame, grasping wildly from just beneath the surface. Blind, you're unable to find anything solid to grab onto. Your pod is too far below to kick off of. Muck has seeped into your helmet, asphyxiating you. Something hard clamps onto your left hand, crushing it with unforgiving strength. It drags you up. Fearing the worst, even though your consciousness is sinking into a dark tunnel, you reach for your sidearm with your free hand. "Found you," Sierra says, then almost dislocates your left shoulder as she drags you from the bog with her robotic arm. You have already thrown aside your helmet when she drops you onto a stone outcropping where her hellpod landed. Torn between gasping for the rancid air and regurgitating swamp muck, you remain keeled over on the rock for a while until you are sane enough to start cleaning and clearing the action of your weapons. Sierra has already done her best to clean out your helmet for you, though there is no helping the grimy layer on the visor, nor the putrid grit saturating the one-ply air filters. Ripping the fouled paper wads out is the best you can do for your breathing. "This is weird. We never picked up our stratagems," Sierra says slowly and quietly, in deep thought as you start to pick yourself up. You don your helmet and lock its clasp. "Correct. We have no stratagem support for this mission." "But we have no AT?" A moment of clarity stills Sierra as she holds up her Liberator carbine, then looks down at her pistol and throwing knives. "No, we do not." Moving past her, you lead the way up the slope, pulling yourself and at times each other through the soft terrain. All around is opaque, swirling fog, making the hill seem endless. Sierra is quiet until you crest the top, where she perks up and slaps your back with her robotic hand, sending you stumbling forward a few steps. "Oh, well, you are smart, and the DO said we could manage, or something. We'll be fine." You never say that at the start of the mission," you gasp with righteous indignation. "Remember what happened to Alpha on Meridia? He said that." She stares, then shakes her head. "Which Alpha? We had like 20 reinforcements on that mission, yeah? And Alphas always die, because they're first, you know?" It takes you a moment to give up trying to recall which Alpha you are thinking of, either the first or the last to die, before stomping away from Sierra, following her visor's compass north. She quickly catches up to jog beside you, creating a constant source of beeping as she tries to check the map display on her armor's left forearm tablet. "We're not being jammed and there's no ion storms. Why isn't the map filling in?" she asks. "Ship is gone," you answer. Sierra stops, looks around, then looks at her blank map again. Like yours, it shows only the terrain. She looks up at you. "Where's the objectives? How do you know where we're going?" You snap, "Because I remember the mission map from the ship. Just follow me, and show me your carbine." With a shrug, she offers her gun to you. Sure, that makes sense. Quiet, listen, you say, switching her fire selector to single shots. Liberators aren't designed for how fast these will shoot, so keep this on single. We don't know when we'll find more ammo anyways. I know we only have red dots on these, but take your time and pick your shots. One shot, one bot. Got it? Got it! Sierra sounds off, taking her carbine back. And don't shoot first unless I tell you to. I want to infiltrate the lines and scope out what we can do to take the pressure off the SEAF base. Also, keep your eyes open for any weapons left behind. You have to take what we can get. Roger that. But why do you have your flashlight on? You just said we're sneaking, she protests, trotting up to catch up as you jog through the fog, sticking to the ridges going around the sunken bog. Why not? Automatons aren't programmed to notice lights, same as the Terminids actually. Is that a General Brash tip, she asked? Slowing to a walk to make it easier to talk, you shake your head. No, it's just how our enemies work if you think about them. The bugs don't think, not really. They run off instinct. They want to kill us, but they don't know why or care. The bots think, but only about what they are programmed to. They can't notice or care about flashlights unless whoever made them told them to. You make it sound like the Galactic War is impersonal, as if they don't hate our freedom and way of life. Charlie, the DO wouldn't like this. Despite her words, Sierra's tone lacks the weight of a threat, instead sounding like a tired nag. You slow to a stop and put a hand on her shoulder, patting the pauldron over her prosthetic arm. It is personal. The bugs are up-jumped cattle, and the bots have nothing but malice for us, even if it is secondhand. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything Cutler would shoot me for, even if he isn't close enough to monitor us with the MC. Okay, she says, slowly, shrugging as she accepts your explanation. What do you mean secondhand? They are programmed to hate us and destroy democracy. It's why they try to dishonor our dead with those effigies around their bases. That's why it's personal. Why they deserve liberation. Sierra nods, happy again to march alongside you. Part 3. Wisps of white gradually fade to a gloomy overcast that diffracts the dim light of the system star into a persistent limbo, neither bright enough for contrast and details, nor dark enough to lurk within the shadows. Your pace quickens at least, not finding any evidence of patrols in the impressionable ground. Hold up, you hiss. Quiet. Striding to a stop, you lean against a boulder to help steady your breathing, listening. There, distant to the north, you catch the synthesized crackle of automatons on the dense, cold air. Posters ahead. Remember, don't shoot until I order. Try to stay behind sight blockers if you can. And if you can't, stay low. Follow. Silently giving you a thumbs up, Sierra follows you up another incline. The constant mist begins to thin as the two climb up, then crawl along the crest to nestle in atop the berm. In the bleak world of Aesir Pass, your black armor coated in the bog muck makes you both look like just more rocks in the monochrome world. The berm turns out to be a man-made barrier between the wretched southern lowlands and the region of the SEAF training ranges and facilities. It runs like a snaking curtain wall to your east and west, fading into the thinner, distant fog of this elevation. Beyond you to the north is a wide plain. Rubble of colonial structures litter the ground, but much of it has been cleared out to make way for automaton occupation. Here, the drab world is bathed by red floodlights. Blocks of small, rectangular fabrication buildings are built in precise rows atop the existing foundations. Fortifications are beyond to the north, where the tops of walls are visible above the fabricators. Beyond the walls are trenches filled with automaton sentries in their machine gun nests. There are even more automatons closer, however. Countless rows upon rows of automatons stand still and silent, all facing away from you, northward. Wide thoroughfares between the fabrication blocks provide immediate access to the front for the next attack. One by one, more automatons step out of the fabricators and walk in stiff, precise steps to join the waiting formation. A white light catches your attention. At the walls, where there is a raised platform below a looming laser turret. is a flashlight slowly waving back and forth. You see no one there, but return the gesture by sweeping your carbine's flashlight left and right a few times back at it. Then, the person across the plane points their flashlight down to the dense Automaton formation. A long-forgotten hell bomb is highlighted in the light, so old that it's no longer smoking and sparking as it rests cockeyed in the ground. The robotic army fills in around the UXO, efficiently making the most of the space without any care for the danger. Charlie, Sierra whispers and points her attention a little west. Tank fabricators are there, automated manufacturing arms sparking as they assemble the first war machines. Or at least the first of this batch, as no tanks are yet present, but plenty of tracks have marred the terrain. Crates of power cells are stacked up in the back of this vehicle assembly area, right up against the wall in the base of another laser turret. Good catch, you say and point your flashlight there, and the other flashlight follows along to discover what you have seen. What do you think that is? She asks. You shrug, watching the other flashlight sweep back to the east. No idea. It could be a SEAF regular or another Helldiver for all we know. We'd have to link up and manually join our systems to get them in our HUD if it is one of us. Their light comes to rest on a surviving colonial structure, its faded blue walls and dirty white roof no longer standing out in the gloom of Aesir Pass. It is 2 stories tall and surrounded by boulders, which is likely why it has not been torn down yet. The flashlight lingers there before bobbing up and down, then gesturing from you to the building, then themselves to the building. Your arm. How long do you think you can chuck a knife? You ask, gripping the bars and cylinders of Sierra's robotic bicep as if you can gauge her strength from a squeeze. Enough to bullseye anything up to the walls. I had nothing to do but practice with grenades before they shuttled me to the ship. I don't think a knife would set off that hell bomb though. Maybe if we shoot it? It is option time. Plan 1, Hellbomb Assault. Destroy the mustering army by shooting the unexploded Hellbomb. The other flashlight indicated this action. Plan 2, Power Cells Distraction. Distract Automaton and defenders to the west by setting off the power cell cache, emptying this area. This may leave you free to recover the Hellbomb and meet who infiltrated the base. Plan 3, Building Regroup. Back off and quietly meet whoever infiltrated the base in the eastern building, where you may get local information and form a plan. That was Drop 3 of Helldivers Quest. Now let's hear those horns. I love this. So, as I said at the beginning, this is going to run for a longer vote to be called at this time. No, not this time, at noon next Monday, so a full week from now. Because I found it's a little bit too much work to write this over the weekend. And it just works as easier for me to write it throughout the work week. So, that means next week I will call the vote on Monday, and then Thursday will be the live stream for Helldivers Drop 4. Tomorrow I will be reading Lovecraft. Let me look at my list of what is still public domain for Lovecraft I haven't read yet. I have Pickman's Model and the Call of Cthulhu. I know nothing about Pickman's Model, but I know Call of Cthulhu is one of the iconic Lovecraft, so I guess I'll start with that. So tomorrow we'll be reading the Call of Cthulhu, starting it. I think that's one of the longer ones. So that might take a few weeks to get through. Not sure exactly how long it is. I also have to Control F through it to look for some N-bombs that I may need to censor in advance after last week's incident. I have to prepare some more gentleman mans in there. But I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. A little shorter stream, but that's how these Helldiver quests will be. Now that we've, I can be rereading the previous parts over and over. So, have a fantastic Tuesday, everyone. Have a good night.